Euromaxx highlights. In this edition, Hotel to Hotel, a Dutch blogger stays in 365 hotels in 1 year. Hit Clip, a Swedish electronic music duo's animated video, is an internet sensation. Distinctive designs, Peter Schmidt is the man behind the look of some familiar products. Euromaxx highlights, and here's your host, Robin Merrill.
Hello and welcome to the show from our studios here in Berlin. I recently gave away a rather lovely old school desk that was no use to us anymore. As our first report will show, I shouldn't have done this because vintage children's furniture is all the rage, and brand new designer furniture for kids as well. In France, there are boutiques that specialise in such classic objects in miniature.
Chairs, tables, closets. It's now possible to furnish a child's room completely with exclusive designer furniture. The Italian manufacturer KidsThe is offering its most popular models in mini versions, like the Lulu Ghost Chair by French designer Philippe Starck.
This often happens when the designers become parents themselves. That simply makes them more aware of children's behavior. For example, that they love to take part in the world of grown-ups. And they can, with our absolutely unbreakable children's chairs.
The competition isn't sleeping either. Last year, the German company Knoll produced a children's collection of its beloved classics. The Womb Chair by Finnish designer Eero Saarinen is available for adults or children. And so is the legendary Diamond Chair by Italy's Harry Bertoia. The price, around €750. This Paris boutique, Baluga, specializes in design products for children. Here, too, it's the chairs that are especially popular, and they come in all shapes and colors.
Designers simply love to create chairs, which is easy to understand. They're especially popular as a collector's item. Nearly everyone has some kind of special model at home. What many people don't realize is that designer children's chairs have existed since the 1950s.
And that's why she also offers original vintage products by renowned designers, like children's chairs by Luigi Colani and Michael Tonet. Véronique Cotta has a simple explanation for the increasing demand for high-end furniture for children.
Parents are not just interested in having a good-looking children's room. Our way of living has changed. Children used to have to remain in their rooms. Now they bring their things into the living room, including their chairs. And no one wants to have an ugly chair in the living room. So things have developed.
All the rage at the moment in Paris are original school desks from the 1950s to the 1970s. Laure Bayeux is also profiting from the boom in vintage items. In her little studio, she restores old children's furniture.
This wagon is a toy from the 1940s. We've given it a new look, cut out these little hearts, and repaired the original wheels. I think what people like so much about vintage things is that they remind them of their own childhoods. And also they like the wood and the associated quality.
One floor below, in Laure Bayeux's boutique, we find a colorful array of items. Beside restored antiques from the 1950s to the 70s, there are also new pieces of furniture built to old plans. Laure Bayeux has furnished her own home in the same style. The children's rooms meet a design fan's expectations, and the children like it too.
We have our own style. Our room is different from other people's. It's not so easy to copy us.
Designer children's furniture that is particularly exclusive is often sold by auction. The Brussels auction house Pierre Berger is holding an auction on December 16th. This school desk by Jules Vabre from the 60s is expected to fetch 9,000 to 12,000 euros, perhaps a bit expensive for the children's room.
Just a bit. Amsterdam, the capital of the Netherlands, has long had a problem with living space, so when Vincent van Dijk wanted to move there, he had real problems finding an apartment. In fact, he never found one. Instead, he hit on a clever idea. Amsterdam has around 365 hotels, the number of days in a year, so he's been staying in one every day and writing about them. We joined him on his daily routine.
Tonight, Vincent van Dijk will be staying at a small family-run hotel in Amsterdam. He'll be living out of a suitcase until the end of the year. That's when his project comes to an end. The 36-year-old is writing a blog about his experiences in Amsterdam's hotels.
One day I was still sleeping in my bed, and a cleaning lady came and took away my sheets, and then she realized that I still was in the bed. I just was laughing, and I thought, oh my God, this is a nice story to write about.
Vincent works in advertising. After more than 11 months, he's grown used to life as a hotel nomad.
I used to have a lot of stuff which I never used. And when I was moving from the one house to the other house, you carry with you all diplomas, photos, books you never use anymore. So I threw away everything, and it feels like Zen.
He moved from The Hague to Amsterdam in autumn 2009 because his company had opened a new office there. The PR professional came up with the idea for his project when he started realizing how hard it was to find an apartment.
I just called some hotels and told them about my idea, writing a book, writing stories about hotels, and they were really enthusiastic about that plan because they had quite a hard time because of the economical situation.
In the early days, Vincent van Dijk would plan his hotel accommodation weeks in advance, but these days he's a lot more spontaneous. Even so, he generally has no trouble getting a room, apart from one night during the peak summer season.
Except one night, the whole city was full. Also, Schiphol Airport was full, and then I partied all night with my friends, and I checked in the next morning very early in the other hotel.
Tonight, he's looking forward to a night in a luxury hotel. He gets a personal welcome from the hotel director, who tells him straight away that he won't have to pay for his stay.
It's going to be a very interesting way of reviewing the hotels. Very personal experience. One person experiencing all these hotels, so it's one viewpoint. So I think it'll be an interesting review, and also it gives a good insight of what's available, what is there, what is not there, what can we improve on as hoteliers here in Amsterdam.
So he gets as positive an impression of the hotel as possible. He's given the royal suite. The hotels are anxious to please and have even sponsored clothes, luggage, and computers.
It's funny, I always get a lot of little presents in hotels, sometimes a table full of presents, but I never take it with me because I can't carry it in my suitcase.
Vincent van Dijk has now received invitations from hotels in Paris, New York, and Rio de Janeiro, but he wants to stay in Amsterdam. Next year, he'll be writing up his recent experiences in a book.
It's more than 350 stories, so it's more than a Bible, and the publisher says it's too much information. We have to pick out the nice stories, and that will be hard to make a selection of all stories.
He doesn't really know what he'll do when he's finished the hotel project, but he doesn't think he could ever live in a house again. For now, his plan is to spend New Year's Eve in a luxury hotel and the next night in a homeless shelter.
And that'll be different. The internet site YouTube has millions of video clips with thousands more added every day, but only a few get as many hits as one called 8-Bit Trip, made by Swedish electronic music duo Rumtrekklars. Difficult for anyone outside Sweden to pronounce, so they're now also known as Ninja Moped. 8 million clicks and counting for a video made with a lot of patience and animated Lego.
Daniel Larsson and Tomas Redigh. The Swedish duo's animations have brought thousands of Lego pieces to life. Their work is a homage to the early days of video gaming, like the Pac-Man game dating from 1980. The digital artists live in the countryside 350 kilometers west of Stockholm. They set up their own film studio in a barn on an old farm in their free time. Tomas Redigh earns a living as a carpenter, and Daniel Larsson is employed by a metalworking firm. Working in the evenings, they spend 1,500 hours, more than 2 months in all, creating the figures in their videos.
We started and we thought it wouldn't take so long time. But when we had worked for like a couple of 100 hours, and we haven't get so far that we couldn't quit, because then all the work had be for nothing. So we just have to keep on going.
And that's how the 8-bit trip video came about. First, a separate Lego figure is created for each karate move. Then the camera shutter is activated by computer to make sure the image is not blurred. Finally, the figure is repositioned for the next shot. Then all the frames are put into sequence to create the final video. And this is the finished product. The artists say Lego animation has many advantages over other materials.
It is easy if you compare it to like clay animation. It's quite tough to get. It's like melting together and stuff. But Lego is quite easy to work with. You can build whatever you want, and yeah, it's fast, and you get the colors right, or so on.
Redigh and Larsson built a special table to create their animations. It allows them to rotate the table with precision between shots. This way they can create the impression of natural movement. The video has been watched over 8 million times online in less than a year.
The first week we got 2 million, so I hardly slept that week because there was such a hype around this YouTube clip, and yeah, it felt really good.
This is Daniel Larsson's sound studio at home. The 30-year-old's musical compositions also draw their inspiration from the sound of the old 1980s video games. The genre is called Bitpop. The duo is currently working on their 4th album. They're not bothered that their videos are far more successful than their musical output.
The visual is, of course, a lot bigger than music in this case, but it helps the picture to grow more, I think.
This is Ninja Moped's next project, an animation using only coins. It hasn't gone online yet, but it's already won a prize in Sweden at one of the world's biggest computer game festivals. Now Larsson and Redigh are working on their next big coup, always in the hope they'll break their audience record.
Just goes to show what can be achieved in the proverbial shed at the bottom of the garden. Good luck to them. If you don't want wine with a fine meal, the alternatives are not that enticing. Water, cola, lemonade. None of these really complement food very well. But now there is an alternative. We've been to one restaurant in Munich where the chef selects the juice with the same attention to detail you'd traditionally expect from a sommelier.
Shake, mix, and pour. Klaus Ruf is head chef, and mixing drinks is another of his passions. The highlight, these aren't just cocktails being made here, but sophisticated juice mixes called Cuvees.
I've mixed an apple, damson, plum juice here with a little bit of blackcurrant and elderberry juice. What we've created here is a so-called juice Cuvee. This is our alcohol-free alternative for wines. It promises just as much pleasure as wine. It's the recreation of the Montepulciano wine.
This Munich-based restaurant's menu boasts 40 different juice creations. The guests can choose their dish, fish or meat, and select a juice to go with it. Just like there are different wines to go with different meals.
I just recommended an alternative to the Cahors wine usually served with lamb. It's a blackcurrant and elderberry cuvee. And an alternative for a Sauvignon Blanc with pied perch is a pear mandarin juice cuvee.
These cuvées, which like wines go with certain recipes, are a rising trend, says food critic Thomas Neumann. He has tasted some very nice non-alcoholic drinks at trade fairs or during restaurant visits.
We've decided that the food industry wants to be especially creative and come up with other things than just apple juice spritzer or Coke, and combine creative food with creative drinks and offer the guests a lot more than usual alcoholic beverages.
Back to Klaus Ruf. He's mixing fresh juices for the guests. He calls them recreations because he has an equivalent wine for every juice creation. Klaus Ruf only uses fresh juices because only those have natural aromas like wines. The usual juices have preservatives, almost no aroma, and too much sugar. So it's only fresh fruit juices.
My secret is the mixing proportions. I've experimented a lot with that. And I learned from experience that some mixtures need 2 juices, some need 3 or 4 to bring out the best flavor and make it the perfect drink for your food.
The Cuvée recipes are top secret. They're served in white or red wine glasses to allow the aromas to build. A blackcurrant and elderberry mix is good with lamb. The tannic acid in elderberry makes it taste like a dry red wine. Juice, not wine, is in. Alcohol is losing popularity compared to its heyday in the 80s and 90s, says Thomas Neumann.
People today are more health conscious. They exercise, they're fitter, but don't want to give up on those special taste bud pleasures. So they go to restaurants and mix different juices to satisfy their taste buds for each individual course.
Klaus Ruf, too, wants the complete taste experience. To compare, they ordered matching wines as well as juices.
The juice is fantastic, unbelievably like a wine, nice and fruity, slightly tart, like a wine should be. It's a wonderful alternative. The only thing missing is the alcohol. Otherwise, it's perfect.
Juice can never fully replace wine because it always has more residual sweetness. So it's easier to recreate a sweet red wine than a tart Riesling. Nevertheless, the juices do have distinct aromas and can indeed taste very dry.
I'm proud of these cuvées because after a lot of experimentation, we have successfully recreated our entire wine menu. And not everyone can claim that they can serve 40 different juices to go brilliantly with their food.
The cuvées cost 5 to 7 euros per glass, and they always taste different. Because just like wines, not every year is the same for fruit juices.
It's such a shame you can't taste things through the TV. Well, you never know, perhaps one day. German designer Peter Schmidt is one of this country's most successful product designers and the man behind many an iconic perfume bottle, packaging concept or logo, working for clients as diverse as Gilles Zander, Krombacher Beer and the German Armed Forces. At 73, he's still going strong, and a new book showcasing his work hits the shelves this week. So look back now at his illustrious career.
Bottles for classy fragrances, beverage bottles, and all kinds of packaging. Supermarkets and drugstores are full of his creations, some of which have become design classics. But who is behind the designs? It's Peter Schmidt, Germany's most successful product designer. But he isn't nearly as famous as his work.
That's because I've always placed myself behind the products. I never wanted to be at the forefront. And I recognized early that I prefer to indulge my shyness and reserve rather than be a player in a world that's not mine at all. There are people who yearn to pose. I don't have that at all. I'm more afraid of myself.
Das habe ich gar nicht. Eher fürchte ich mich.
Peter Schmidt's work is everything to him. 4 years ago, he planned to retire and sold his design studio. But now, even in retirement, he still works with a small team in a studio in Hamburg. He has just designed some perfume bottles again. Schmidt has designed more than 100 such bottles and has set many a trend. His best-known work was for Jill Zander. The little bottle is now an exhibit in New York's Museum of Modern Art.
The form is very important, and it can reflect the fragrance. But if it's too refined, it goes beyond the fragrance. So the secret of great scents and great bottles is that they aren't completely congruent. And then imagination, which women have more than men do, that also plays a role.
Born in 1937 in the southern German city of Bayreuth, Schmidt moved to Hamburg after studying art. Commissions for fashion designer Jill Zander in the 1980s secured his breakthrough as a product designer. He also designed world-famous logos for the Hugo Boss and Joop labels. He's true to his minimalist style in all his works. He has also shaped some symbols for the public sector in Germany.
I'd have to have a lot of time to consider, first, what I've done, and when I did it all. There are things I've chosen to forget and don't want to know about. But with others that I rediscover, I think, hey, that wasn't bad at all.
After more than 20 years serving major labels, Peter Schmidt is looking for a change of pace, and he has found it in classical music. He first became a fan while still living in Bayreuth, which is synonymous with Wagner. In 1994, he designed his first stage set. Since then, he has worked for ballet, theatre and opera, as in this staging of Parsifal. He has created stage sets and costumes in Hamburg, Bamberg and Zurich, and considers such work a separate realm from product design.
In my original profession, there is lots of preparation, presentations. You can go to the printing press or the glass factory and observe how something is made, and you can interrupt it. But in this world, where we are now, you can't do that. The curtain rises, the lights go on, and everything has to work. And that, of course, is very fascinating.
Schmidt has contributed a great deal to cultural life in Hamburg, where he now lives. In 2006, the city government made him an honorary professor. He has also created an architectural monument. In 2003, he redesigned the foyer and lounge of Hamburg's State Opera. Schmidt can't seem to stand still.
I could never imagine restricting myself to a single theme. That's never worked for me. And I don't see it working in the future either. Part of my interest is that I have an almost pathological yearning for conversation with people. I think life is mainly a dialogue with other people.
To generate new space for this dialogue, Schmidt has now designed a future museum for the city of Frankfurt. It focuses on the ecological and social consequences of human activity. The designer is thinking about tomorrow.
I often have conversations about projects involving young people. What's the use if I know something but can't pass it on?
Peter Schmidt continues to work with young designers on projects such as a program brochure for the Munich Philharmonic Orchestra. But during all of this activity, of course, he's dreaming up new designs for perfume bottles.
And that's all we've got time for today. If you'd like to know more about the programme, go to our website at dw-world.de/English/Euromaxx. But for now, until next time, thanks for watching and goodbye.